Welcome Diecast fans, I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
And I'm Frank the Guru Gibbs.
We've got a huge show for you tonight, so there's no time to be a flippity gibbet, it's time to get into it.
A flippity what now?
Alright, first up, in the news, on the 11th of July we've got My Hot Wheels collection have their one and only championship, and D64 has the Charger Summer. It was at League of Speed's track, and that's now moved to D64 in Utah for the next section. And speaking of League of Speed, the Pop Speed Invitational has been delayed till the 8th of August now. And for more news and race updates, make sure you head over to redlinederby.com. Alright, there is also on Redline a review of the Teamsterz electronic finish line. Well worth a look. I know a lot of you are looking for an inexpensive finishing line. Check out the review.
Moving into drag racing, we kick off with Simon at Hot Car Track as the Street Creeper tries to hold on to his record. So far, the most winningest team on the track. It's very impressive. But the Screaming Hauler here, just doing the business, and Street Creeper flipping over.
Now, new track to us, but this guy has been in it for a long time, like a decade or more. Diecast RacerX. Fantastic tracks. Like, this is just one of like half a dozen or more tracks he has. So this was their straight drag race series, but they've got a ton of other stuff. In fact, we've got another one coming up from them later on.
Then Mr. Moms Racing continued their FTE competition.
And just look at all these beauties. I mean, we struggle to find any FTEs in New Zealand, and they just seem to be all over the place in the States.
And I just love this track. It is an absolute beast. It's like 60 feet long or something ridiculous. I mean, look at the size of it.
Yeah, and you get that awesome sense of speed with that chase cam. Absolutely love it. Hotwheels Boys in New Zealand ran the Aston Martin versus Straight Pipes in a drag race. Head on over to Hotwheels Boys to check out how that did. And then we've got Diecast Draggor moving into round 3. And as always, lots of action on his little drag track being an open track. And you see here the cars jumping from side to side as the drivers try to get around each other. And really nice with the new camera angles, gives you a different look at the track.
And then Josh over at Rustbelt Diecast Racing has his lightweight series. Now these things are ultra light. They're like 28 grams or lighter, and they're absolutely beautiful on this track. The sky drop is brutal. You see how high that is, and you see the distance they're covering in every frame of that video. They are flying down there. Definitely a good series to get over and check out.
Moving into tournaments, we kick it off with Jackson Pass Racing and their Battle of the Centuries. So this week they've got Mike Mays versus Jim D from Indiana Diecast Racing. There you see Mike Mays forcing an error and forcing Jim off the track completely.
Sorry mate, is my chip packet a bit loud?
Well, not if you bought enough to share. Alright, back to the racing, and Mike I think learned that from Grandma, because she pulled a similar move on him a while back.
Then we move over to Trax Racing and their Season 2.
Oh, that Ford looks nice. So does the Roger Dodger.
Now here you see this Ford fly through the track and fly off the track. Just like at the Canyon, it's not always about speed. You've got to be able to handle your curves.
And speaking of curves, Mike over at RTR had the final of Corvette Summer Series, and this was a beauty between Arcade XD and Maria Mays. There's been some great racing up till now, and this final didn't disappoint at all. This from one of the races, I mean, check out that move right at the end. Arcade XD going sideways through most of the course, almost loses it completely, but actually taps into the side of Maria by the look of it as he's absolutely spinning around out of control, and just catches the back of her car and keeps it straight.
War on I-4 continues his open wheel series, and this thing is just absolute mayhem. There are so many cars all over the place, and with that many cars racing, you've got to have some carnage, and he definitely gets it. I mean, 3's definitely a crowd in that corner.
Certainly is, mate, and I think there's even one car upside down somewhere else on the track. Again, you're going to get that sort of thing when you've got so many vehicles on one track. Yeah, there we go. In fact, that looks like 2 cars upside down. And then GNR Vintage Diecast Racing and the Big Kahuna track had the Matchbox Challenge, and there's some beautiful cars in this competition. I mean, just look at those.
Yeah, there's some real stunners there.
And one of the things that I really like about this track is until they get into that very final straight, you don't actually know who's ahead because they're all over the place.
Hey, look at this. This dude here decides he's had enough and he pulls over to park. What's up with that?
Well, maybe he had a flat tire and he's doing the responsible thing, getting out of the way. And then Nine's Diecast have had some upgrades since we last saw them. His track is called U-Turn Mountain, and this is a great little course. Relatively short, but he's done a lot of work with all of the background and the stadium and stuff, and it's fantastic. It's great to see tracks like this popping up all over the place. And there's some good racing, having that laned section to begin with to give the cars a good run at speed, and then they hit the open track for the corner and stuff. It keeps the racing really interesting, and you can just never tell who's going to win. It's not always about being fast. Like any fat track, you've got to be able to handle, and you can't be going sideways all the time.
Then Indiana Diecast Racing continues his series, the IDR Open, and that's the Gas Monkey Corvette out in front there. Goes through the triangle and then just gets completely loose. But luckily for him, he manages to pull it together. Oh, and of course, the other boys wipe out the camera on the way through.
It's a tough life being a cameraman for Diecast Racing. I see a lot of them getting taken out. And of course, the Chevy Showdown for us, the final of the series. This was huge. I mean, this was the end of about 8 weeks of racing at the Canyon. It was an absolute monster. Just some great racing. Here you see Grandma, the first driver to actually cross the gap on her roof, and she didn't just do it once, she did it twice. Obviously with the assist there from Knocky Jack, and in the second attempt it was from Mark D. And then speaking of Knocky Jack, helping out his partner Lightning Jim Leichenring there. A great little manoeuvre. If you haven't seen it, hang around on the channel, it'll be here.
Now, another new one to us is Live Young Diecast.
Wow, that's such a clever name, I love it.
Yeah, and it's a great little track. He's got 2 finish lines. That first one he uses as a checkpoint to see who's in the lead in the first part of the track, but the actual finish line is there. And I love the way the cars stack up here to show which is first, second, third. I think that's really clever.
3D Bot Maker with his new logo there kicked off the King of the Mountain new series for the qualifiers, and this was the new 4-car tournament, which I think is really cool. And this overtake maneuver is fantastic.
Yeah, that dude really gave it the beans going through there. Look at the speed he's carrying. That's massive. Not so much that one.
We talked about Diecast RacerX earlier. This is another one of his tracks. Now this is running at normal speed. This is basically live. And you see how long it takes to get down this track. It is absolutely monstrous. It's got diorama all over the place. There's tons of racing there. Go and check it out. Diecast RacerX. Link in the description.
Just so many cool tracks there. It's awesome. And then speaking of awesome, Flat Rabbit Racing. I just love this. This is brilliant. The Get Up Stay Up tournament, repossessed, and there was some fantastic racing in this one. And I just love this track.
As always, those jumps creating a bit of havoc. And particularly here.
Yeah, typical. The one car that we picked, the Skyline, was blazing through and just completely wipes out. But also quite fitting that he happens to wipe out right in front of the DSPN sign just in the background there. See it?
Oh yeah, classic. How typical is that? Alright, and Pena Tabua, this is a track we've featured before, and it used to be just one curve and a short track, and he's extended it, which is awesome. And upgraded with some extra cameras so you get different angles. Great little track, great series, some very tight racing. Head on over and check that one out.
And then Indonesia Diecast Racing, again with their street racing, is very cool. They've got a new tournament with a bunch of trucks, and check out this El Camino here. Flips, rolls, back on his wheels, and then does these massive pirouettes heading down to the finish.
Of course, it can't be rallying without 3D Bot Maker in the DRC. This is the channel that introduced us to Diecast Racing.
Yeah, it's been awesome ride so far, and it was nice to see Stephen King out there doing his thing, showing the boys how it's done.
I guess that's how you come to be a two-time champion, and of course he was there to try and defend his crown yet again. We're not going to give you the results. As always, if you want to see the actual race results, head over to 3D Botmaker's channel, check it out for yourself.
Yeah, there's always good racing there, and it's very well produced. And then Beaverworks had their Stoned Road episode again with this beautiful green light Jeep.
Wow, that is stunner.
Yeah, but of course, drivers need to remember to button things up before they head down the mountain. She's a rough ride, and you see there, that convertible top just getting converted.
That's definitely not an appropriate place to take your top off.
And for Frank's Custom Corner, I wanted to head back over to Nero 62. He's just done this flat out 442. I mean, it's a great looking car, very muscular, but he strips it down and gives it a right birthday, cleans up all the interior, polishes up that glass that was all dirty, and takes it from this to this.
Wow, that is stunning. I love that paint. That's a brilliant gloss on there, and nice new decals. Moving into Trax Spy. So we've got a couple here for you today. First up, DRC Yard Race. We kind of mentioned this one the other week, but they are getting close to launching, and there's a bit more overview of the track, and it is looking awesome.
Yeah, I just love these hand-built tracks. A lot like the Canyon, it just gives so much more dimension to a standard track and just opens things up for a bit more chaos, which you know we love.
And they've done a great job theming it. Then Hot Wheels Calgary have started their daily racing at Birdco Pass. So this is new for him. He had a drag track before, and now this fat track with just lots of curves, and there is tons of chaos there as well. Moving into grassroots racing, Wallside Diecast Racing is a new one for us. So this channel's only recently started up, and it's called Wallside for a good reason. It is literally outside on a wall, and it's awesome. So orange track drag racing, but it's not just standard drag racing. You see they have this first drop, and then they have this monster drop.
Holy smokes, that's huge. I thought the jump at the Canyon was big. That thing's a monster.
It certainly is, mate. It certainly is. And then Diecast Racing Portugal, his Street Gut Challenge, this was going back to where he used to drive cars as a kid. And it's literally like in a gutter. I think it is grandmother's house from memory. But it's, you know, this is what it's all about. This is racing cars and having fun no matter where you are. You don't have to have a big track. You don't have to have a big setup. You just have to have fun. And these things look awesome.
Now, Stunt of the Week, this is an absolute cracker. And it goes to Flat Rabbit.
I'm not seeing much driving, but oh! The explosion, of course!
That's right. It's the first channel I've seen to include actual pyrotechnics. That's just awesome.
Yeah, let's not suggest people blow things up though.
That's right, we don't endorse blowing things up, but we absolutely love explosions.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Alright, that's enough for this week. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't been over to redlinederby.com, make sure you get over there, put your races up there, and if you want to be involved in the DSPN reports, make sure you follow the forum there, post links to your channel, or post your photos in there. That's how we know we can use your channel or use your images. We won't use your channel unless we have your permission, so thanks to all of these channels for giving us permission to use their footage. We really appreciate it because it helps us let other people know about these channels. That's enough from us this week. I'm Tom Spanners Watson, he's Frank the Guru Gibbs, and we'll see you next time.
You don't want to give everyone a bit of an update on the Canyon, do you?
Not quite yet. We're nearly there, but we'll give them something maybe next week.